young ladies of Alexandra College and parents, I don't recognise myself at all. I didn't recognise anything you said about myself. I suppose like Longfellow, you dabble in something and you don't realise it's your life. Or somebody sort of points it out to you. Thank you very much for the privilege of the invite. It's the best one I've had all year. There's been some dodgy ones, but this has been the best one. Now, girls, I don't mind, I say this to the students, I don't mind you looking at your watches, but if you start taking them off and shaking them up and down to see are they still working, I know that I've gone on too long. I went away, to boarding school in the Jurassic Park era. There was dinosaurs running on the lawns when I was away at school. I was educated by the nuns. They get very bad press, but they educated me. And they taught me how to get beyond walls. I like being educated by women. They were outstanding women, feminists in their own way. And they taught me a lot. There's nothing like a bit of education. Stand to you all your life, and I'm very grateful for all the educators and the teachers that put up with me during my time there. In boarding school we had a bath once every 3 weeks. Now we didn't smell, we just had to wash in water every morning, cold water in jugs. And we couldn't speak on the corridors, and we weren't allowed to speak in the refectory. We ate too much, that's why I'm sort of on a diet all my life, because we learned how to eat fast and furiously in the boarding school. But we loved the fellas, we loved them, even though we were stuck up on a mountain. We never saw them, except at religious ceremonies. True, and in the cathedral at Calvin's, which gave us another view of religion, the way in. And we got very excited. And we spent hours trying to make ourselves more attractive, even though we were the size of pillar boxes. And we wore huge big gabardines and berets on our heads. So somebody came up with a great idea, Germany. It's kind of a pink pseudo cream that you put on your lips and look cool. So we did. We never got kissed because we smelled of antiseptic. But I got a letter from a fellow in Ramley Park just down the road, and it was in a pink envelope, and it had love hearts on the outside of it. His name was Paul. Could be dead now. I'm meeting him, but the nuns got a hold of it. And then there was World War III. But I loved all the things you love, music and fashion and drama and stories and hockey and holidays. And I still do. People don't change. They never change, they just get a bit older. And all the women in my life who thought they were going to change their boyfriends got an awful fright. People don't change. All of your grandparents and your parents are young in their hearts, and they do not feel their age except physically. My mother is 96. She still smiles like a 5-year-old. Now, I'm here today in the shoes of an educationalist. I've never been able to take them off. I've done many things in my life, but I've had to keep on my educationalist shoes. And the first thing that I want to tell you is that education is not just about your head and what goes on in your head. Your brain only weighs 3 pounds. And I've never met a 3-pound person, except maybe on my hip at Slimming World. And you could actually lose your brain if you lost 3 pounds at Slimming World. You have to give equal weight to your heart, your hands, your body, your curiosity, your voice, your creativity, and your imagination. Your head is useless on its own. Knowledge is useless on its own. Poetry is useless unless it is spoken, brought alive. The only people who talk about knowledge for knowledge's sake are bankers. And we know where that comes. And throw in a few politicians body and you have presence. And it's no use being like the Oxford professor who knew everything about everything and nothing about everything else. Every one of you are creative, expressive, moving human beings. You are moving, dancing human beings. The purpose of all education is the pursuit of that unique, individual, human, creative energy, and nothing more. In whatever knowledge it comes, whatever conduits it comes through, that is its power. There was a young girl in a class drawing. She wasn't very good at a lot of things, and she wasn't very good at drawing, but she loved it. And she was sitting at the back of the class, and the teacher, who didn't particularly like her, came down and said, "And what are you drawing?" And she said, "I'm drawing God." "You're drawing what?" "I'm drawing God." "But nobody knows what God looks like." "They will in a minute." The arts, as the headmistress says, has a part to play in personal possibilities and in the realization of who you are and what you really are. So has sport. Tom Murphy, the playwright, said, "It is only when people sing or play that we know who they really are." And the arts, through drama and literature and poetry and writing and visual art and dance, teach us how to think and to feel differently. And if we can think and feel differently, we can act differently. Recently, 3,000 top CEOs were asked, what is the quality you most look for in somebody coming in here for a job? And the answer was imagination. It is absolutely the most important quality in the sciences, in politics, in climate change, in everything you touch. The imagination is absolutely everything. Einstein believed that you only need two things. You need imagination and energy. Imagination to believe that something is possible, and the energy to propel it through. Ask any of your parents about that. All of us are capable of that, imagining the possibility of something and then propelling it through. And that's what they're about, the arts. They're also about counteracting three words: inertia, torpor, and apathy, which is really boredom. And they are an army against the most appalling moment that has crept into all our lives, which is the idea of cynicism and negativity. And we seem to be spiders in that web. And everything is awful, everything is terrible, nothing is right, and nothing can ever be right until everything is right. If that's the case, everybody should do what this school, I thought it was brilliant, did. Go to Calcutta when you went to India and you saw what poverty really is. Because we keep talking about poverty in Ireland when we're really talking about anxiety. How this school had gone and learned what poverty really is. And maybe we should get on a plane and go to Japan and find out what manners is, and belief in the elders, and how the elders are treated. Because that is what will come home when many of the people who are visiting the Rugby World Cup. They will see a different kind of way of walking and a way of living in Japan. Sometimes our cynicism takes over and it's become a kind of an intelligence. The more cynical you are, the more negative you are, the more intelligent you are. And we don't use words like beauty and sacred and the comic spirit and the idea of innocence. Not at all. That's not smart. But cynicism and being cynical is far smarter. George Bernard said, and he wrote My Fair Lady, he wrote Pygmalion, which went on to become My Fair Lady. And the papers, the press are very good at this cynicism. And he said that the only thing to believe in the papers is the date. So that's the second piece of advice I give you today. cynicism abounds, and I really feel that the arts are a way of getting beyond that, getting through that, getting to the moving, dancing, feeling, hearing, seeing, speaking human being, and getting it out of yourself, not asking somebody else what they think, and then taking on the mantle of their thoughts. Because we're enriched by singing, we're enriched by design, we're enriched by colour, by visual art, by fashion, and we were actually going to get rid of history. What a political judgment. I stood up in the Senate in 2015 and said, what are you doing to make history a non-core subject? And then the government congratulated themselves all yesterday because they had reversed the decision they'd made themselves. I mean, you couldn't make it up. History, the very thing that tells us not who we are or what we are, but why we are the way we are. The great subject history that can be through music, through drama, through dance, through science. We need history in all our lives. Who and what and why are you the way you are and how you are? History is a platform for our heartbeat. And we have been somewhat, I suppose, isolated by the economic graph. It dictates our lives. We're mesmerized at the point system, supply and demand, not attainment. It's supply and demand, the point system. I congratulate all of you who've got through it. I'm a great believer in apprenticeships. Great apprenticeships. I suppose the arts are a kind of apprenticeship because we learn to do, to sing, to speak, to play, to act, to move, sport is. Too much living in our heads. Maybe I'm getting too old. All this living in our heads, making it out in our heads, feel it out and shoot it out. And I think we have been somewhat economized in education. Why would you give 25 points to music in the leaving certificate and you wouldn't give it to visual art? What kind of a stupid decision is that? Or give it to music, or give it to a language, or give it to geography, or give it to natural history. Give it to a passion. Why do we do that? Because we roll over to the bankers. I don't subscribe. I like the post office, is my favourite place, actually. I'd recommend it. You can't get it out and you can't borrow. It's the greatest training ground for anybody. We always believe that economic happiness is round the corner. It's not. Every known society knew that the arts were great. They knew about the centre of action, healing, individual distress, communal conflict. Do you know, I spent time in Palestine. I loved it. And I absolutely loved it. And I spent 3 to 5 weeks in Palestine. I lived in Hebron, in Jenin, in Ramallah. And of course, it was not liked by the Israeli government. I didn't care. I wanted to see both sides. And you know how they come together? The one place, the Israeli and the Arab people come together on the great Barabon Orchestra that travels the world. They don't think of politics. They don't think of territories. They don't think of ammunition and killing. They play together. They joy together. They live together through the orchestra. Anywhere I went, it was always the arts, in some way, that brought people together outside territories. My experience in politics is that the greatest and the most creative idea will be subsumed by a territory. And that's the one thing the arts can overfeel, is a territory. If you were asked to explain why you were invading a country through dance, we wouldn't do it. We make decisions in our heads. Look at the wonderful TED Talks on physics, on how an element of physics is explained. The element of atoms is explained by a professional dance company. It is possibly the most outstanding TED Talk I've ever seen. And the speech, of course, is through movement. And they have a reason in education, as the headmistress said, which is that the arts are useful. Your eye is useful, your ear is useful, your voice is useful, your heart is useful, your intuition is useful. Your internet, I'm not too sure in relation to your personal development. I used to say to my students in TCU, because we were in the School of Communications, if you were breaking up with your boyfriend,
Would you text him? Or would you ring him up and speak? Or would you meet him? 80% of them said text. Did I be right? I think so. Because you don't have to bring the self to the text. You don't have to bring your tone or your melody or your tune. You just bring your little finger. You have to bring yourself, you see, to the table. Turn up. You don't have to turn up on text. What is the message in your plays? An American asked Brendan Ian, who was a great writer and also drank too much. I think he was quite drunk at the time he was asked. What is the message in your plays? And he answered, I'm a playwright, not a telegraph pole. And he was right, insofar as texting is the telegraph pole of communication. And that brings me on to my second last point. We have now an information god. We have so much information we don't know what to do with it. Our biggest problem is how we're going to distribute it, how we're going to actually keep it. We have no information scarcity, we have information glut, and we have information chaos, and none of us can get through the information. It's not lack of information that has people starving. It's not lack of information that has soaring crime rates. It's not lack of information that keeps suicide rates too high. And it's certainly not lack of information that has climate change happening everywhere. We have the information, we just don't have the understanding. And the only problem with information, as I say, is how to generate it, store it, and distribute it more conveniently. We have elevated it to a metaphysical level. Information, information, information. It's coming in from everywhere, and we cannot get through it. There was a time, when people believed in the authority of religion, back to my school in Cavan. Now they believe in the authority of information. But it doesn't matter how much information you have to have meaning. I'm going to ask you a question. What colour is an apple? Any answers? Any answers? Red? Green? Yellow? That depends on how you look at it, because if you cut it, it's white. So it raises the whole question about how you look at things. Do you look at it externally, make judgments? Or do you look at it internally? What way are you going to look at things, and what way are you going to look at yourselves, and what way are you going to look at others? I would suggest that you get motivated by looking at things internally. And let the external pass you by, just as a reference point, but not necessarily qualitatively something that you would actually believe. I think that the purpose of any education is, Whitehead said it, or was it Peters years ago, is to teach people to stand up and look out. And I think he was quite right. And not to be motivated by the economic graph or just by technology, because then we'll just get Google to come in and he can teach. And all of the arts and all of the sciences and all of the languages will fade away. And also, can I say that you be proud of your human voice. It is your greatest gift. It is your tune and it is your melody, and it's getting closed down also by technology. And don't be afraid of it, and say out what you want to say, and come through your voice and be yourself through your human voice. I want to give you maybe just a few pieces of advice before I leave. The first is, life is long, take it easy and calm down. There is no such thing as a timeline in your life. It will happen for you, and it will happen to you. So take it easy. This is to the young students and the young pre-university students and the young girls, no matter what class you're in. Take it easy. Trust me on that. It'll happen. It'll happen for you and around you. Don't read glossy magazines. They're rubbish. They're absolute rubbish. And stay away from anything that makes you feel less than you are. And they do. Because they're all tricked into looking beautiful, and they're all false, and they're all touched up, and they're all eyes. Now, I'm not talking about the New Yorker, but you probably haven't got to that yet. Don't read glossy magazines. Don't judge. The Carmelite nuns taught me that. Don't judge. And don't minimize anybody else's journey, whether it's religious, spiritual, artistic, scientific, mathematical. Don't judge. It's their journey. It's not your place to minimize it. And anyway, if you judge, it'll close you down. So accept. Approve of yourself. You're the best judge of yourselves. Nobody else is. Approve of yourself. Become a listener. You'll find it fascinating, and you'll be very popular. Don't spend time looking in the mirror. It's only in the service of others you're going to find the best of yourselves. Looking in the mirror is not very engaging, because you'll always find something wrong. Engage with others. Always trust your instinct, your gut. It'll never let you down. If the situation is iffy, it's iffy. And you know it is. Do not do a degree that Mammy and Daddy want you to do. Or do not do the degree or the study that Mammy and Daddy forgot to do. And then they're going to live through you as you do it. No. Do and decide for yourself, but let them be your guide. You will never get a greater guide than a parent, even if you're not talking to them. They are your greatest guide. The world, the other area is that you have to work. You must work. Everybody must work. You will get nowhere unless you work. You will be fooling yourselves if you think you can. You will be equally fooling yourselves if you think that somebody, your friend, is not working and doing very well. It doesn't work like that. You must work. You will get nowhere unless you work. Mozart had to practice all day. So you have to work hard and have fun and be a credit to yourselves. And don't forget to thank your teachers and your parents. They are your greatest friends and your greatest hope.